What is up, Z Fighters? It's Manga Adventures, and this is part 2 of Future Gohan's adventures. I want to thank you guys for liking part 1 and sticking with me on this journey. It means a lot. I hope you all enjoy this part, and if you do, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. But enough shameless promotion. Let's jump right in. Our story will start at age 778, exploring the universe outside of Earth. So if you want to skip straight to the adventures of Gohan and Trunks, jump ahead using the timestamp shown. Now, continue for everyone who stayed. This is the year Beerus woke up for his search of the Super Saiyan God. He would ask Whis to find him information on this, and the angel would pull up the battle of Goku versus Frieza the moment he turned Super Saiyan. Now, Beerus is surprised any mortal could defeat Frieza. A genius like him with a little training will be a challenge even for a god of destruction, other than himself, of course. Beerus is interested in Goku, who defeated him, but is disappointed to know he died of a heart virus. His next question is there anyone else alive who could turn Super Saiyan? It takes Whis a second, but he shows an image of Super Saiyan Gohan getting stomped out by androids 17 and 18, explaining this is Goku's half-blooded son who seems to be having trouble with 2 Earth androids, causing Beerus to click his tongue. Now agitated, he asks the Oracle Fish, is the Super Saiyan God even a half Saiyan? The fish ponders the questions before answering, nah, he's full-blooded. Beerus turns his head to Whis, who doesn't even need to be asked. He searches the universe to find 2 full-blooded Saiyans on planet Vampa named Broly and Paragus. The two head straight to the planet, being greeted by dust storms and giant monsters. Beerus already wants to leave, but he's rushed by Paragus, who saw them arrive. And at first he doesn't know who the two are, but once they introduce themselves as the god of destruction, he immediately bows his head in fear. Beerus doesn't care for the pleasantries, wanting to instead know where the other Saiyan is. Broly comes in the blink of an eye to take down the bug monster, but Beerus isn't impressed and wants to get things over with. He orders the two to attack. Paragus, not wanting to make the god of destruction angry, does as he's told, charges at him, only to be backhanded away. But Broly isn't going down that easy. He continues to attack no matter how many times Beerus knocks him down, and actually comes back stronger each time, which starts to impress the god of destruction, now blocking the attacks, considering him the strongest mortal he's ever faced, before actually throwing a solid punch that sends him crashing into one of the green lakes. Thinking the fight was over, he started flying away, but green aura shoots up in the sky like a beacon. The lake begins to spiral, and Broly comes out, his eyes now yellow, before letting out a roar that causes massive shockwaves and firing a mouth beam that Beerus easily deflects, but the assault doesn't stop there. He goes back to the same flurry of blows he was doing earlier, but something is different. He's even more powerful than before. What worked for Beerus earlier now has no effect, forcing him to draw out more of his power, making the god of destruction excited for the first time. Just how strong can this Saiyan get? But suddenly, Broly started screaming in pain. Sparks of electricity began coming from his collar because Paragus had awoken, and fearing the power of Broly, not wanting to make the god of destruction mad, he had stopped his son. But this had the opposite effect. Beerus was furious his battle was interrupted and didn't hesitate to kill Paragus so this wouldn't happen again. It doesn't take long for Broly to awaken, and Beerus tells him he killed his father so their battle could continue uninterrupted. However, what Beerus wasn't expecting was for Broly to react the way he did. His ki rises once again. This time a physical transformation can be seen. His pupils disappear and his hair turns blonde. The green aura that had been building up around him shoots out in all directions, killing all surrounding life. Beerus dodges all the blasts and tackles the fight differently. Instead of taking blows, he dodges every punch thrown by Broly, now seeing him as a worthy opponent that doesn't need to be tested but taken seriously. Even though his power continues to rise, Broly can't land a single hit, and eventually he lets out a beam of energy from his mouth that Beerus counters with his own blast. When the two attacks collide, reality shatters only for a moment, though this doesn't stop the fight. Broly's muscles expand even more, and in response, Beerus cloaks himself in Hakai aura, similar to Toppo in the Tournament of Power. The God of Destruction, now a little too excited in the fight, concentrates a ball of energy filled with Destroyer Ki, and as if he knew what was going to happen, the pupils in Broly's eyes return as he fears for his life before ultimately disappearing. When the adrenaline of the battle fades, Beerus asks Whis to turn back time just before the battle started, which the angel happily does. This is the moment just before Broly wakes up, and instead of admitting to killing Paragus, he instead says he died due to Broly losing control of his power, and he will teach him to control himself so that this won't happen again. Though he doesn't revive Paragus, even though he could, due to his abusive nature. While he waits for Broly to control his rage for a rematch, Beerus now has no reason to go to Earth. That is until Shin, the Supreme Kai, comes telling him the feats of Gohan and Trunks. Interested because they prevented the revival of Majin Buu, he heads to Earth. He knows from Broly how strong Saiyans can get from battle, so although he initially had doubts about Gohan when he saw him losing to the androids, if he beat Deborah, his power must have risen significantly, and Beerus wants to test just how high it can go. He arrives alongside Shin, so there's no miscommunication. The Supreme Kai explains to Gohan and Trunks that this is the God of Destruction of Universe 7, and he wants to test their abilities, having given up on the Super Saiyan God. Not wanting to be rude, Gohan and Trunks accept his challenge, both revving up to Super Saiyan 2 and going all out. Although they're not able to land a hit at first, their combination attacks allow for Trunks to get in close with the sword strike, but his blade is stopped and snapped by Beerus before it can connect. It's at this moment that Gohan knows they are outclassed, so he puts everything in this last gambit plan. He's going to charge the Spirit Bomb, and he needs Trunks to buy him some time. Trunks agrees, putting all his faith in Gohan, and Beerus sees what's going on, but wants to know how much punch this attack has, so he plays with Trunks a little bit, beating the half Saiyan Black and Blue, wondering how much punishment he can take before he snaps. And although Trunks doesn't have a spike in power, no matter how much he was beaten, he got back up, believing that Gohan would win, but eventually even he hit his limit. Beerus, disappointed, goes up to Gohan saying his time is up, and the half Saiyan knows he doesn't have enough energy, so he does something crazy. He uses the properties of Force Spirit Fission to absorb the energy of the Spirit Bomb into himself, giving him a massive boost of power. This catches Beerus off guard, and Gohan is finally able to land a punch, but Beerus was able to push it back with his face alone, glaring at Gohan's pathetic attempts. All that build up for nothing. He's done with this world. Beerus charges up a death ball and fires it at the Earth. Gohan tries stopping the attack, but he doesn't even slow it down as it continues to head towards the planet. Even still, Gohan doesn't give up. Looking back at an unconscious Trunks, remembering how much he believed in him, thanking how the people have started to regain their peaceful lives after years of a hellscape, and finally a vision of his father appears behind him, screaming at him not to give up. This reignites a fire in Gohan, whose ki spikes. This newfound power expands his muscles, his eyes turn white, and a blue aura is coated underneath his regular Super Saiyan energy. Inches away from the ground, with the assistance of this new transformation, Gohan bursts through the death ball, surprising Beerus, and as the God of Destruction watches the Saiyan race towards him, he doesn't have a chance to react before he's thrown into space, and it's followed up by a Kamehameha. The impact of the attack looks like an exploding star from the distance, and although Beerus blocks it, if you look closely, smoke is coming from his slightly shaking hand, as the God of Destruction gives a slight grin, saying, "All you Saiyans are so interesting." He goes up to Gohan in this state and asks him if he can control this power. Although initially grunting and gritting his teeth in anger, he eventually closes his eyes, takes a deep breath, and when he opens them back up, his pupils have returned. Beerus is more than happy and offers Gohan a deal. If he comes with him and helps a fellow Saiyan control his anger, he promises not to destroy Earth. Heck, you can even get some training from Whis while you're there in hopes of defeating me. Gohan knows he has no other options to save Earth and accepts, though he asks Beerus to give him a little time to say goodbye to everyone. Beerus agrees as long as he can get something to eat while he waits. First, Gohan wakes up Trunks to explain what's happening and that he has to be the protector of Earth while he's gone. Trunks' first instinct is to apologize, saying if he was stronger, this wouldn't have happened, and that's when the old Kai who had appeared after Beerus broke the Z-Sword during the fight finally speaks up. If you want to get stronger in hopes of defeating that oversized hairball, I'd be happy to help. Trunks is confused, but old Kai explains his situation, shooting occasional glares at Beerus now and then for sealing him in the Z-Sword, and offers to unlock Trunks' potential, which the Saiyan eagerly agrees if it'll make him stronger. Next, they go to Capsule Corp to give Beerus some food and explain to Bulma the situation. She wishes the boy luck, saying this is exactly what his father would have done before giving him a few capsules of food and shelter for himself. Gohan heads to his last location alone since Beerus and Whis are overly enjoying Earth's food, which is fine because he wanted to do this by himself anyway. He meets his mother, who bursts into tears, not wanting to lose her son, but he comforts her, saying he has to. Chi-Chi asks if he'll ever become a scholar like he wanted, and he lets out a heavy sigh, saying this world doesn't need a scholar, and he needs to put his wants behind for everyone else. After a heartfelt goodbye, he returns to Beerus, who just finished eating, and the three head to Beerus' world. Gohan starts his training on God Ki, while also teaching Broly to control his anger. The two kind-hearted Saiyans get along. Broly opens up to Gohan about his past and why he wants to control himself, and in return, Gohan tells him about his father and how much he looked up to him and is proud to follow in his footsteps. One day, Champa appears jealous of Earth's food and wants to hold a tournament to see who wins the planet. While his fighters are the same as canon, Universe 7 now has Gohan, Trunks, Android 18, Broly, and Monaka. While the others were eager to show their growth, 18 only came along because she was promised a significant raise at Capsule Corp, and 17 was tasked with protecting Earth while Trunks was away. With all members recruited, Trunks shows Gohan to the time chamber, saying they upgraded it for longer uses. The two go in for 3 years like Goku and Vegeta did to get a feel of how each other grew. While we know what Gohan has been up to, Trunks, after getting his potential unlocked, studied under Shin to learn more techniques throughout the universe that could be useful. So he spends a good portion of their training teaching Gohan what he learned, as well as sparring and pushing each other to new heights. Meanwhile, Bulma would be tasked with finding the Super Dragon Balls with the help of Jocko. They finished just in time for the tournament, and of course, Broly would fail the test needed to enter. Now, on to the fighting. Gohan versus Botama, easy win, just ring him out. Gohan versus Frost would end up with him being poisoned, and the next fighter, Trunks, would step up and also be poisoned. But this time the needle is caught by Jacko and Frost gets disqualified, which means Gohan and Trunks can get back in the tournament, and I don't think Trunks would have the same want to fight an alternate version of Frieza as Vegeta did. So we go on to our next fight, Trunks versus Mineta, and I do think the young half Saiyan would insult him, find his weakness, and win. Now we have Trunks versus Kaba. Base to base would be equal, but when Trunks turns Super Saiyan, Kaba can't fight back. Instead of a student-teacher relationship, I think Kaba and Trunks would be rivals. Trunks would see his desire to get stronger to protect his planet and teach him Super Saiyan so they can once again be even before he turns Super Saiyan 2, winning the fight. He offers Kaba a hand, saying this form can only be learned after mastering Super Saiyan, and can't wait to see how strong he gets. Last for Trunks is Hit, and even with Ultimate, which I'll put at the same power as Super Saiyan Blue, Trunks loses the Hit, which means Gohan is up revealing Super Saiyan Blue for the first time in this What If. And he may not immediately pick up Hit's time skip as Goku did, but he does pick it up eventually, causing Hit to push himself to improve his ability mid-battle. This causes Gohan to do something drastic, stacking Kaioken on top of Super Saiyan Blue. The Half Saiyan never even thought he would have to use this technique, but even with this surge of power, he can't beat Hit. Though, as thanks for helping him grow stronger, Hit throws the fight with Android 18, who uses this win as an excuse to get an even bigger pay bonus than what she was already going to get from Captain Court. After the tournament, Zeno arrives amused and wants to throw a tournament of his own, but bigger. After he leaves, the Galactic King offers Gohan a job as a Galactic Patrolman, since they recently lost their greatest member, Mirrors, who sacrificed himself to stop Moro, but Gohan declines. And as thanks for his hard work, but mostly because he wants more of Earth's food, he lets Gohan take a break from training so he can return home. Chi-Chi uses this opportunity to celebrate her son's return, throwing him a party before he has to leave again, but is interrupted by a time machine landing. Everyone gathers around, and what they find inside is a little girl. They help her out and let her rest, but when she wakes up, she immediately attacks Gohan. However, upon further inspection of her surroundings, her eyes start to water, realizing she made it, and that this is her real dad before hugging him. Gohan tells her to calm down and explain what happened. She wipes her tears and tells everyone the story of her timeline. Her name is Pan, and before she was born, her father had switched bodies with Zamasu. Zamasu, now in Gohan's body, attacks Gohan while he is confused, but Pan's mom is able to escape thanks to Gohan clinging on to life so he can protect her. He ignores the woman because the next step is to kill Shen, which would in turn kill Beerus, which is a more than easy task. Now that the God of Destruction is out of commission, his angel is now in a state of stasis until a new God of Destruction is appointed, meaning Broly is stuck on Beerus' world, unable to help. Zamasu's plan now is to get strong enough to destroy every universe, so he stays on Earth and battles with Trunks, who was more than reluctant at first, but this reluctance allowed Zamasu, or Gohan Black, what I'll be calling him from now on, to go strong enough that when Trunks did start taking things seriously, it was too late. He had unlocked Super Saiyan Rose to beat Ultimate Trunks. Once Trunks is killed, Gohan Black feels like he's able to challenge other gods of destructions, at least the weaker ones. And in my opinion, most of the gods of destructions are canon fodder, because in canon, Goku turns Super Saiyan 2 and Zamasu, the Supreme God of Universe 10, thought he was as strong as a God of Destruction. And during the recruitment phase of the Tournament of Power, base Goku got hit with a Hakai from Universe's 9 God of Destruction, which should be an instant kill for anybody weaker than them, but he was still able to tank it and survive. So at the very least, these two are getting taken out. While Gohan Black is killing gods of destructions, he would occasionally come back to Earth to kill some humans as a pastime, causing them to live in constant fear of when he will return. And every time he does, another Z fighter dies. First 18, then 17, and that's just the world Pan's been living in her whole life. With no one to train her, she had no way of getting stronger, so she didn't even have Super Saiyan. The only choice was to use the time machine to ask the past for help, a plan that had been scrapped years ago during the android situation. Though Black finds out about this, kills Videl and Bulma, but Pan was able to escape in the nick of time thanks to their sacrifice. It isn't long after this story that Gohan Black appears, having followed Pan with his time ring. Gohan is more than ready to fight the person who destroyed his world and revs up to Super Saiyan 2 to face Black, who in base is trading off blows. But before either can power up further, Black is pulled back by the time ring. He tries destroying the time machine but fails thanks to Trunks protecting it. And although Gohan is ready to chase after him, Bulma says they need to recharge the time machine because it only had enough fuel for a one-way trip. So they have to wait, which means Pan gets to spend quality time with her grandmother and father, going to amusement parks, getting ice cream, new clothes, new toys, watching movies. It's just a fun time for the war-torn girl, but eventually this has to come to an end and they have to head to the future. But Gohan suggests she stays a little longer to get her potential unlocked by other Kai while he and Trunks handle Black. More than happy to say, Pan wishes her father good luck before the two men head to the future. There they meet Gohan Black, who wanted to finish what they left off, turning Rose, causing Gohan to transform into blue to try and match it. But Gohan was having trouble keeping up, so he once again used the Kaioken on top of blue to gain the lead, and as it looks like he's going to win, Black is saved by the immortal Zamasu, healing him and giving him a Zenkai boost, which puts Black back on top, and Zamasu stops Trunks from interfering, not afraid to fight because he's immortal, but what he doesn't know is Trunks can handle this, having learned a sealing technique from his time on the Supreme Kai's planet. If the Grand Supreme Kai can seal Moral's magic, Beerus can seal Old Kai, and even Master Roshi has the Bafuba, I feel like there has to be some sealing technique out in the universe that could be learned. So he does just that, sealing Zamasu into his sword and leaving Gohan Black by himself. Though he is strong enough to take both of them on, Trunks has one more technique up his sleeve. One he actually taught Gohan while they were in the time chamber, the fusion dance. To make an opportunity to use this, Gohan does the solar flare, temporarily blinding Black, and luckily enough, the dance goes off without a hitch, creating Gohanks. This fusion is so powerful that in base, he's able to hold off Rose Gohan, and turning Super Saiyan was just overkill, finishing off Black with a burning Kamehameha. With this timeline saved, they head back to the past with the sword that Zamasu is in, giving it to Shin, telling him to keep it on his planet. Next, Gohan goes with Beerus to stop Zamasu from killing Gowasu, preventing the Zero Mortal plan from even happening. With everything done, Pan looks up at her father with sad eyes, not wanting to go back to the dystopian future, and Gohan looks down at her before coming up with an idea. Instead of immediately sending her back, how about he trains her up so she can be ready for any future threats? This puts a smile on the young girl's face who wanted nothing more. As they head over to Chi-Chi's house, where they plan to stay, they bump into a young woman who wants Gohan to participate in the next World Martial Arts Tournament, saying it would bring joy to the people of the world if their hero was there. This woman is none other than Videl. This is the start of their relationship, and they grow closer in planning the tournament, along with Videl wanting to train under Gohan, the hero of the world, so she gets pretty strong for a human. These carefree days are cut short when Zeno is bored, remembers how fun the Universe 6 tournament was, and wants to hold his own with every less than satisfactory universe. The recruitment arc for Universe 7 will go like this. Gohan, Trunks, and Broly, Surance. 17 and 18 will go with the right motivation, i.e. money. Pan and Videl beg Gohan to enter with them. Pan wants to prove how strong she's gotten, and Videl wants to help defend the planet as well. They also get Dende to join because honestly, they can't think of too many more fighters. And his healing could come in handy. Still 2 members short, Bulma contacts Jocko, forces him to join, and also tells him to find them their last member. So Jocko takes Gohan to Granola, a bounty hunter who has been hired a lot by the Galactic Patrol since the passing of Mirrors. And when Jocko introduces the two, he tries to negotiate a lower price for Gohan since he's a friend of Bulma, telling Granola that yeah, he has to fight in the tournament, but don't worry about working too hard. This kid and a few other of the participants are Saiyans. This triggers Granola, who attacks Gohan. Now, the strength of Granola is unknown, but his goal was Namek Saga Frieza. This is clear by him being surprised that Frieza was brought back to life, and Oatmeal saying that Frieza died several years ago, so they weren't talking about his ROF death, which happened fairly recent in the canon timeline. Now, whether his goal was first form Frieza or the Heaters knew the power of final form Frieza is irrelevant in this fight. I don't think he would be a match for even base Gohan. So when he attacks, Gohan can dodge all his blows and even talks to him mid-fight, saying he knows what the Saiyans did in the past, but that has nothing to do with him. Though Granola doesn't listen and just wants someone to take his revenge out on. Realizing he's a lost cause, Gohan ends the fight with the chop to the neck. Sorry about what happened, Jocko tries taking Gohan to another bounty hunter, and as they fly off in the ship, is shot down by Granola, who accurately hit the engine. To do so at the distance he was at impresses Gohan so much, he explains to him what's at stake. That this isn't just a tournament, but if they lose, the universe will be erased. Granola doesn't believe the Saiyan at first, but Jocko vouches for him. Gohan then asks the question, is there anyone you want to protect? And the bounty hunter thanks him Monito. Granola agrees on the condition that he gets another chance to kill Gohan when the tournament is over, to which the Half Saiyan agrees. With 10 members, we can finally start the Tournament of Power. Now with no Goku, I don't think anyone is making a beeline for Jiren. Instead, Gohan, Blue, and Ultimate Trunks will work together to take out all the members of Universe 9, along with Botamo and Mineta from Universe 6. Meanwhile, Pan and Videl have amazing synergy that even surpasses Gohan and Trunks, working together perfectly to beat a lot of members of Universe 10. Universe 7 is doing such a good job, they painted a target on their back, so the other teams are now slowly focusing on them. Dende is the first to get ringed out by Frost before even having the chance to heal anyone. Granola and Jocko noticed this after taking out a few of the tricky members of Universe 4, though his hate for Frieza transfers to Frost since they look so similar, and as we've established, Granola is pretty weak. So Frost is enjoying bullying the Cerulean since it's clear he has a hatred towards him, but this gives Super Saiyan Trunks enough time to step in. Since Frost never fought Trunks, being disqualified during the Universe 6 tournament, he doesn't realize how strong the Saiyan is, charges at him, only to get sent flying with a single punch. This infuriates Granola, who not only got saved by a Saiyan, but is starting to realize the gap in power between him and them. While this was happening, Gohan was fighting Caulifla. Now, I don't think Gohan would have the same drive to teach Caulifla as Goku did, so he would try to end the fight with Super Saiyan 2. Reason being, he's preserving energy, which means he's not going to spam blue. Same reason Trunks saved Granola as a Super Saiyan, but unfortunately for Gohan, Caulifla is a quick learner and picks up Super Saiyan 2 from fighting him, giving him no choice but to rally to blue. This makes the fight too easy, but before he can beat her, Kale, who had been watching the fight, goes berserk to save Caulifla, using a power so great that even blue Gohan can't keep up. Caulifla stops the rampage by calming her down, wanting to beat Gohan herself, and letting him go so he can heal up for their rematch. While Gohan is resting, Videl falls, taking out some of the members of Universe 2 with her. Pan is about to be dragged out of the ring after defeating some members of Universe 3, but not wanting to lose so easily, she uses her ultimate form for the first time to break free, having saved the transformation for dire situations such as this. With this new burst of power, she switches targets and takes out the remaining members of Universe 10. While Caulifla and Kale wait for Gohan, they take out more than half the members of Universe 11, but Kale goes berserk again. This catches the attention of Broly, who had been trying to control his power, so he sees a lot of himself in Kale. He fights the girl with his controlled Super Saiyan transformation, which gives him a clear edge. While on her rampage, she attacks Caulifla, which causes Broly to ask, what are you even fighting for if you're hurting the people you wanted to protect? This causes Kale to gain control of her Super Saiyan form and work alongside Caulifla to fight Broly. But even working together, Broly's ever-growing power is too much for them to handle, and they're about to lose until Caulifla pulls out the Batara earrings, fusing with Kale and becoming Kefla. When they transform into Super Saiyan 2, the gap is big enough to blitz Broly, so he can't grow anymore. Gohan and Trunks sees this and knows the best way to beat a fusion is with another fusion. So they once again become Gohanks, but this time they turn blue to prove who the stronger fusion is. Instead of dodging her last-ditch effort attack, Gohanks tackles it head-on with a burning Kamehameha. The beams clash, but Gohanks wins the day, defusing almost immediately after. Although not back at full strength, Gohan has no choice but to face off against the remaining members of Universe 2, who attack, and at the same time, Pan is fighting the remaining members of Universe 6, the two Namekians. The father and daughter perform a Kamehameha at the same time, taking out the two universes simultaneously. Universe 4 is finally able to take out Jocko, but Granola picks up the slack thanks to his years of being a bounty hunter, eliminating the universe. Like in canon, Universe 3's remaining members combine to form Annihilaza, which is taken out thanks to the combined efforts of Universe 7, but unfortunately they lost 18 during the battle, who at this point was pretty much doing what her canon self was doing, leaving only Universes 11 and 7. Although he didn't want to, Granola has no choice but to work with Pan to face Dispo because the girl wouldn't take no for an answer. She sees the past as her home and refuses for this world to be taken away from her. So to slow down the lightspeed Dispo, Granola uses his sniper-like beams as a cage, allowing Ultimate Pan to land some hits before eventually she decides on a double knockout type tactic, telling Granola to take them both out of the arena. But that sacrifice and her desire to protect her home makes Granola start to question his ideals. Trunks would beat Topo, and instead of insulting him like Frieza, he would respect his idea of justice, empathizing with it, making his loss easier to swallow, so no God of Destruction Topo. The remaining members of Universe 7 all rush Jiren, but it's no use. He's just too powerful. Trunks is the first to get knocked out, but before he goes, he gives the last of his remaining energy to Gohan so he can continue the fight. Gohan is pushed to the limit by Jiren and eventually unlocks UI Omen. Jiren, afraid of how quickly Gohan is growing, thanks to this technique, tries using all his power to finish the Half Saiyan off, but all this does is help him unlock true Ultra Instinct, which can best Jiren, but not soon enough. Gohan's body can't handle this new form and gives out. He winces at his weakness, not wanting this universe to end because of him, and his word reached none other than Granola, who's more than confused at all these kind-hearted Saiyans who want to protect everything instead of destroying it. He unlocks his second eye and works together with Gohan to wring out a weakened Jiren, leaving only Android 17 remaining. 17 wishes for the other universes to return, which ends the Tournament of Power, and as everyone is going home, Gohan asks Granola if he still wants that fight. The Cerulean just turns his head, saying he has a lot of training to do before facing him again, so try to stay alive until then. The two part ways, and when Gohan returns to Earth, not long after that, Videl announces her pregnancy, and with that, I'll end this What If. I hope you enjoyed it. The future timeline for super arcs is very hard to traverse since a lot happened, or at least should have happened by that point. So don't be mad that I skipped a few arcs like ROF. Even if Frieza's soldiers came to Earth, there would be no Dragon Balls to wish him back. Moro would have been escaped, and either he's an all-powerful being or Mira stopped him. And I don't think the Angel in Training would let him get as far as Universe Conquest. Granola only made the wish to be the strongest when he realized Frieza was still alive. So even if he found both Dragon Balls, I don't think he would do anything with them. Lastly, if Dr. Hedo was alive, I don't think 17 and 18 would have been destroying the Earth for as long as they did. He would have been made some hero type androids to stop them. But despite all this, if you still enjoyed the video, thank you so much for making it to the end. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more. And I hope you have an amazing day.